all your smart devices, smart TVs, smartphones, tablets, and more. From live TV and events to your favorite on-demand shows, Afro Mobile delivers an ultra-smooth, uninterrupted streaming experience anytime, anywhere. Download and update your Afro Mobile today. Afro Mobile, authentic African stories.
One by one makes a bando. United Media is your gateway to a countrywide radio station. With a coalition of more than 120 radio stations, 15 TV channels, 20 online publications, you can cover every region and community with convenience and no hassle. Guaranteed impact with consolidated communication and localized engagement. Whether it's an MDA, development partner, FMCG or regular advertiser, United Media is a truly one-stop shop for your communication needs. United Media, together we will shape the future.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dear viewer, we want to appreciate you so much for being part of the show. This is the Alhidaayah show and we look at Islam and science in this episode. Before waiting for the break, we are looking at some of the health benefits that you stand to gain if you engage in fasting. So before looking at it as something or if I don't do it I'll be punished, at least change the intention to be that Allah will reward me if I do the fasting, and also Allah will give me the benefits He has hidden or put in the ibadah of fasting. So we looked at one, helping us regulate weight loss and the fat burning, and then also looked at helping us ensure that the insulin levels are regulated. And so as a Muslim, you stand to benefit so much if you engage in this fasting with an intention that you want to please your Lord Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I want to request our guest again to help us shed more light on the aspect of insulin. You told us insulin is the sugar level in the body?
No, insulin is the chemical that controls sugar level
in the body.
Mashallah.
So it means by fasting that chemical is kept in check.
The chemical, essentially what the body does,
yes,
is that it either utilizes the insulin in a proper way or it resists the insulin. So when the resistance to insulin grows, the body does not use the insulin and you end up having these disorganized sugar levels.
Yes.
So we say the fasting simply helps you in such a way that the body becomes more sensitive to insulin, meaning it utilizes the insulin in an efficient way, and in the end you have better control over your sugar level.
Wow.
So sugar level control is something very critical. If it goes too low, you suffer a problem. It goes too high, you suffer another problem. So you need proper regulation, and that is what fasting is doing for you, making your body to utilize insulin in a more efficient and organized way.
Okay, thank you very much. Viewer, that is the point that we ended on before waiting for the break. I want to invite him to give us the other health benefits that we can get from fasting.
Now, so the other benefit is cellular repair of cells. And there is another concept they called autophagy. Autophagy is a medical term, but it simply means removing damaged cells and using them for purposes of energy. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has designed his system or the human body in such a way that we don't waste anything.
Yes.
Very interesting scenario. Imagine your body here is composed of cells, but these cells over time get damaged.
Wow.
Just like the way you'd have bricks on a house, just wind or people just living in the house is enough to damage those bricks. But for the body, it keeps checking and identifying those that have been damaged, then it goes ahead and removes them. But even in the process of removing them, it does not waste those cells.
I see.
It goes ahead and converts them into energy. Then they are simply exited as a byproduct. So that is very important. So whenever you fast, the body accelerates this process of repairing cells. And whenever it is repairing these cells and removing the damaged ones and converting them into energy, you have a far better chance that you are not going to suffer from some of the diseases that arise from cells that are damaged staying as part of the body. Some of those diseases, there is what we call Alzheimer's disease. Now this Alzheimer's disease is not very common here in Africa, but in other countries there is a problem there, and you will not find this Alzheimer's diseases in Muslim majority countries.
Wow.
Actually, you don't actually see it anywhere within the Gulf and some of the other high Muslim population. But in places like the US, where we have fairly small numbers of Muslim population, you find many people, especially at an advanced age, suffering from this Alzheimer's disease. So, how does this come into being? A person's body begins by essentially having healthy cells.
Yes.
Then over time, these cells begin to get damaged.
So they pile up in the body.
So the body's automatic response should be: cell is damaged, remove it.
Yes.
Repair whatever, wherever it was, allow the body to move on with the normal function. Now, if you don't have this repair process being done efficiently, you now face a new problem. Cells are damaged, but they are still there.
They are still there.
And you know that these cells are very critical. They have very particular functions. You don't have, it's just like having some employees in an organization and they are simply stealing money, disorganizing whoever is working. So you end up having less work just because of having a negative person, just one person within the office.
Yes.
So this is exactly what happens. The cell is there, it is not doing its proper function, and it could even possibly be generating poisonous things because it's no longer working properly. But once you fast, the body is forced to do this repair and replacement of damaged cells in a far bigger way. So in the end, we have that advantage. You don't suffer from these degenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. There's also what we call Parkinson's disease. Then the second very good application of this particular advantage is the issue of cancer. Cancer is also having cells that are behaving abnormally.
Yes.
And that's why you see it occurring a lot in our current generation, where we eat a lot of artificial food that does not actually add value to the body, but because we eat largely to occupy the body, we end up with a lot of these damaged cells. So if you are having your body doing a lot of cell repair, then during that process it also eliminates some of these abnormal cells like the cancer ones and some of the others. Of course, we are not saying that if you have a cancer, go and do fasting, it's going to go away. All these are things that keep the body running properly before it gets sick. So they are mainly preventive. So you don't think that you'll essentially get sick, then you start applying these advantages. The advantages earlier. They come to keep your body in good working order. For as long as the body is in good working order, it has the capacity to solve most of its problems. And that's why in many countries they emphasize prevention. Keep the body working well, you are not going to suffer diseases because the body is already designed to deal with these diseases. So the repair of cells and removal of damaged cells and using them for energy purposes is a very important advantage that we get once we go ahead and do this fasting. And moreover, we have said we are not talking of random fasting. You talk of fasting that has a definite starting point and a definite ending point, and that is exactly what we do for the Ramadan fasting. We have a starting point that is very clear and an end point that is very clear. Very interestingly, within the Sharia, we don't allow a person to exceed the stated end time.
Yes.
It is a highly discouraged practice. Actually, you may end up even beginning to lose rewards because you are going into excess. So you don't say, but I'm not feeling hungry. Yes, it's 7
You can
p.m.
fast the next day.
Continue.
Yes.
Because in that case, you may very easily begin to again damage the body because the period is already regulated so that these advantages come into play. You go into excess, you begin to again now cause damage, and it becomes a problem.
Maybe before we go, this cereal pay you're talking about, does it also apply for cases where somebody prevents themselves from consuming some foods, and in the name of fasting, I'm fasting, let's say carbohydrates, I'm only eating proteins. Does it also apply, or it has to be this complete?
Usually the recommended one is complete fasting, because the body has to detect these deficiencies in whatever in food content before it makes these responses like dealing with the cells and cutting down on fats or etc. Otherwise, when you are doing some partial eating, the body may not actually detect that there is a need for an intervention. So you have to stop totally, and that's why for the Muslims we stop totally. You don't say I'm fasting one food and leaving the other. The body may not actually detect that you are even fasting, because for it it's looking at more of food intake as a practice. You stop it totally, then the body will detect that there is a deficiency and make.
So in other words, the point you're making here, we should avoid the two extremes. There's the extreme of me completely not eating for days that are extended. Then also this side of me eating in the guise of me not of me not eating some types of food. So it should be one that is regulated between a start time and an
end time,
and also completely free from food.
Exactly. In that case, you get the benefit because the body is adjusting itself. Actually, there are some people that claim that the fasting is not really a major issue, because what these Muslims are just doing, they move the eating schedule from to a night. So they claim that when we fast during the day,
what you should have eaten for lunch, you eat at 7.
That we are simply shifting the eating program. And doing the eating more in the night. And so compared they claim that. But these very same people, if you tell them, you just try to also shift. Because if you are claiming that there is no difference, you try the shift. And
start from 5 and end at 7.
You will find there is a difference. So for as long as we are maintaining a regular schedule, then in that case, these benefits will come to pass. Because ultimately, the benefits come when the body detects a reduction in food intake and it begins to utilize whatever stores it has. Most of these other advantages come just because of that action that is there.
Okay, so we have about 4 minutes to end this show. I think we can have one more.
So we can have one more. Of course, we shall add on possibly next week, because the Muslim needs to realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been very merciful. He puts an ibadah, and moreover, on top of the ibadah, he helps your body to work better. So apart from the akhirah where you get a reward, you are also improving your dunya itself, because being healthy in the dunya is a major advantage. So heart health, having a healthy heart. The heart is one of the most important organs that you have in your body, and you need to worry about it. In Uganda, we even have an entire heart institute. So for them, they don't deal with any other part. Just the heart, because without the heart, the rest of the things simply can't work. So what does the fasting do for us? Number one, reduces cholesterol levels. 2, reduces blood pressure. And once we have reduced these 2 elements, then we have greatly reduced on the risk of heart disease. We have also cut severely on the risk of stroke. Then in general, we are improving cardiovascular health, meaning the heart is going to work more in to a standard that is more according to its design. Because all these distortions that you have seen here, like cholesterol levels going high, they begin to distort the way the heart is originally designed to work. So what does cholesterol do? What cholesterol does is that it begins to cause blockage of the vessels. But remember that the heart monitors very closely the way blood flows in your body. That's how you are able to maintain a healthy body. But now when these vessels begin to clog, the detector now begins to detect it as lack of blood.
Lack of blood.
And indeed it's right, because if where blood was supposed to be, we are instead having all this blockage, the heart now begins to pump more blood to cover the deficit. But remember that the deficit is not a real one, that this person is actually not having blood. The deficit is coming out of this blockage
that is happening.
So in the end, the heart now begins to do way more work than it is supposed to do under normal circumstances. Meaning, if you are going to be pushing a vehicle using one hand because it is on a straight edge, if it has any friction, then you are going to be having to use a lot of energy. But you are still achieving the same simple objective of moving this vehicle from here to there.
To the next
one person, because he has a clear path, is using one hand. You require to use it to the simple, the fact simply being that the path that the vehicle is using is not a smooth one. So cholesterol build up within your blood system will cause the heart to have to do way more work in order to spread blood around, and it becomes a very big problem. And that's why nowadays there is encouragement of people to avoid food that has too much cholesterol. But as we have seen, even if you are chewing food that has much cholesterol and you are fasting, the fasting will simply reduce on that cholesterol.
Yes.
So you may not need to deny yourself nearly everything, because again, if you resort to abandoning every other food that is talked about, you will end up again suffering other problems, because you can't say you are not going to eat nearly everything and you decide to eat only grass like an animal.
So it is this.
You eat, but so you do things that cut down on some of the negative.
So the blockage of the blood vessels is what will bring about blood pressure.
Once these blood vessels are not opened properly, the heart detects it as a lack of blood.
Lack of blood, yes.
So it responds by pushing blood with greater force, because for it has a standard. Blood vessels in this area are supposed to be having this level of blood, and that is all. Once there is any detection of deficiency, it pushes to cover up. But during that pushing, remember that the cholesterol is not going away.
Of course.
So for years and years, the heart is doing way more work than what would normally be expected, trying to maintain the standard blood level, but all because you are having all this blockage within your blood vessels, and you end up being unhealthy just because you are having all this cholesterol that is blocking. So your heart will therefore become way more healthy just by maintaining a scheduled fast. Please, we are saying the fasting should be following a regular schedule. Don't just randomly fast and think you are going to achieve these objectives. Just like you see that Ramadan fasting, it has a very strict starting time and a very strict ending time, and you can see that Allah has not done it across the year. It is simply just 30 days out of the entire year, but out of those 30 days, the Muslim will benefit immensely from this activity. But when we come here on a show of science and Islam, we are not telling people to go and start reasoning secularly about the ibadat of Allah. So even if there was no known benefit, once you have an order from Allah to fast, you simply fast. So you don't say, if you have not seen benefits by yourself, you are waiting to understand.
No need to fast.
You implement the ibadah, then you begin to investigate what benefits Allah has intended, and we shall inshallah benefit out of this particular activity called fasting.
Okay, I want to thank you very much, Mr. Hamza Sekalema, for making time to come and share with us. Also want to appreciate our viewers for following us. Remember, if you missed out the beginning part, go to the Salam TV YouTube page, type Alhidaayah, and then the topic can be given to you as a recap. Otherwise, we want to wish you a fruitful week ahead. We want to wish you a nice fasting week, and pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards us all. Till then, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. mukimanyi tulina etteeka eryatuteekebwako ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykum siyam kama kutiba alal ladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. Tubeere nga twibirizawo empagi y'obuyisiraamu eyo ey'okusiiba wesanga Allah ku lunaku lwa ahira anaatuteeka mu bantu abalongoofu era n'atuddiramu n'atutwala mu nnyumba ye ejjana Firdaus. So mbakubiriza bannange nga nange bwe neekubiriza tusobole ibaada eno gituukiriza mu ngeri yonna gye twalaalikwa okugikolamu. Era mbasaba nga bwe tugenda mu mwezi guno ogwa Ramadan embeera nga bulijjo si nnungi, tugezeeko okusharinga ne bannaffe. Allah bw'aba kuyina gwe riziki nga yagikugaziyirizaamu kaseera kano kakugabana kakusharinga akatono k'olinakawo oba lyenvu oba katunda oba munegwaki kolina konna tugezeeko okusharinga ne bannaffe. Naddala abalina obusobozi mbakubira omulanga okuteekayo ebyokusibulukirako ku mizikiti n'okuyamba okusiibulwa bannaffe abatalina mwasirizi bangi abali eyo. Ekisembayo kwe kubasaba bannange eggwanga lyaffe tuliwonge mu mikono gya Allah mwezi guno ogwa rahma omwezi ogw'okusaasira. Allah atuddiremu kubanga ensonga y'obwenkanya justice nkulu nnyo. Mulaba tugirafuubanako abantu baffe bangi ababundabunda abatuteekeddwa mu mbeera enzibu. Bano bavudde DRC, bano bakwatiddwa wano, bano basibiddwa bino, bano bakwatiddwa biri. Ensonga ya justice Allah atuddiremu eggwanga lyaffe libeeremu obwenkanya. Yali tuteeramu nga ffenna twenkanankana naye waliwo abatwalanga bo banene okusinga abalala, waliwo abalya riziki y'abalala, waliwo abatulugunya abalala. Allah atutaase atuddiremu ffenna twekuba emitima tumanye nti ensi eno tujja givaako tusobole okubanga tuli benkanya eri basaabaze bannaffe mu ggwanga lino. Ekintu ekyo tukisabe buli omu mu dduwa zonna asaba mu mwezi guno ogwa rahma. Allah atuddiremu ng'eggwanga atusaasire atutaase okuva mu mbeera eno gye tulimu ey'abantu okubanga tebalina bwenkanya. Ramadan Karim, Ramadan Mubarak.
Step up with DSTV and we'll show up by giving you more incredible entertainment.
Well, that's it for me.
Upgrade your subscription between the 13th of January and the 31st of March and get an even higher package for a whole month on us.
What a day he's having!
There's nothing better than putting a little bit in but getting a lot out.
The brothers-in-law just got to town.
Relax everybody, I'm here.
I've heard good things about you. Don't let me down.
Step up and we'll show up on your home of entertainment, DSTV.
Byolina okukola obeere sitede. Weegendereza abakwetoolodde. Bw'oba oteekamu ppini yo mu bbanka oba mu ssimu kakasa nti teri akira